construct a demand curve. When you are constructing a demand curve, the two variables we use, price and quantity demanded. For this particular example, we have used the demand schedule from previous slide, price of a shirt and amounts of shirts purchased. Always remember, when you are constructing a demand curve, your y-axis is price axis. We will always take quantity for x-axis. So if you take this demand schedule, price of shirt will be in your y-axis, whereas amounts of shirts purchased will be in your x-axis. Let me start with constructing my y-axis. If I look at my y-axis starting from 50, I have values up to 120. So if I take 40 units by 40 units, I can easily cover 120. So I take 0, 40, 80 and 120. Now I have labeled my y-axis, but always remember, you need to customize your y-axis and x-axis according to the demand schedule or the data given in your case study, in your question paper. Students more often forget about this and they just give price and quantity when it comes to graphs. But if you receive data from a case study or from your question paper, according to that, you need to customize your y-axis and x-axis. So for this case study, we have price of a shirt. So let's label y-axis price of a shirt. Next, I'm going to construct my x-axis, my quantity axis. If I look at my values, 100, 80, 70 and 50. So similar to my y-axis, again I can scale this 40 units by 40 units. (40, 80, 120). So let's mark coordinates according to the information in our demand schedule. When the price is 50, we purchase 100 units. So price is 40 here, 80 is here. So in between it's going to be 60. So it's somewhere around here. And quantity is 100. So your 80 units here, 120 here. So exactly the middle is going to be your 100. So the first coordinate next we have price is 70, quantity is 80. So we are price 50, we have to move to 70. So 70 is somewhere here and the quantity is 80 now. Our next coordinate, price is 90, quantity is 70. So if you move up in your price axis, 90 is somewhere here and quantity 70. Next we have 120 as the price and quantity is 50. So 50 should be somewhere here. So if you look at our coordinates, we have received 4 coordinates from our demand schedule. Now what you can do is connect your coordinates and construct or complete your demand curve. If you want to draw a straight line, try to balance coordinates. So according to my scale and my coordinates, this is the shape of demand curve I got, and this is a downward sloping demand curve. We can understand the negative relationship between demand, quantity demanded, and price looking at this graph. If you look at price axis, when you are moving from 40 to 120, what has happened to the quantity? Quantity has moved from 120 to 40. So this is the inverse relationship we are illustrating in a graph that is exactly same as the law of demand. Price and quantity demanded has a negative relationship. Always remember when you construct a demand curve to label your x-axis and y-axis. Now here we haven't labeled our x-axis. Our x-axis is amounts of shirts purchased. So we have constructed this demand curve for market for shirts. So we can label this graph as market for shirts. And the most common notation we are using to label demand curve is capital D. So we can label this demand curve as D. Why these notations are important? In upcoming lessons, when we are discussing about determinants of demand, we'll be constructing sometimes 1 or 2 demand curves in the same graph. So at that time D, D1, D2 likewise we'll have to label them. So always remember when we are labeling the demand curve, the most common notation we are using is capital D. So this is a complete demand curve which has downward slope, and we have labeled y-axis as the price axis, our quantity axis is the x-axis. We have correctly labeled y and x-axis. Same time we have plotted according to the demand schedule. So the shape of the demand curve is downward sloping demand curve. It's very easy to construct a demand curve if you know different quantities demanded at different prices. So the key for constructing a demand curve is demand schedule. So in this graph, in this lesson actually, we learned about demand schedule, demand curve, also the law of demand. Looking at this graph, we can understand the negative relationship between price and quantity demanded.